Frederick Douglass had a lot of chores to do in the house, but life in the old home in Baltimore was better than he had ever known. His owner taught him how to read. So Frederick Douglass's owner, because remember he was a slave, taught Frederick how to read. So now Frederick Douglass can read. Then Mrs. Auld told her husband of Frederick's rapid progress and his eagerness to read. Mr. Auld had a fit. He knew the law. He knew how important it was to keep slaves from learning how to read. He ordered her to stop. So her husband told her, do not teach Frederick how to read anymore. But it was too late. The seeds of Frederick's freedom had been sown.
Following his unwavering pursuit of knowledge, Frederick Douglass rose to prominence as an abolitionist, orator, writer, statesman, and most importantly, as the driving force behind the 19th century African-American civil rights movement. And you know what? That same seed is being planted in you, our future leaders, just as it was in all the young black girls and boys who went on to become leaders in their own right. On that note, welcome to another exciting edition of this Friday's Jamaica Magazine. I am your host, Audrey Williams. Today we're going to talk about the value of getting an education and vocational skills, which can help develop a competitive workforce. There's more, so don't go away. You don't want to miss it.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, May 10, 2024. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang is warning that criminals who endanger the lives of students will be dealt with forcefully. His comments come on the heels of the shooting death of a 16-year-old student at Grange Hill High School as he walked home from sports day activities. A 15-year-old female companion was also shot and injured during the attack. During a visit to the school recently, Minister Chang said situations where students were in the crossfire of those intent on engaging in criminal activities would not be tolerated and would be dealt with strongly.
We are going to pursue the perpetrator relentlessly. Whether he's young or old, we're going to find him and prosecute him. We're going to remove him from the community.
Dr. Chang was part of a ministerial team visiting the school, which included Minister of Education and Youth, Favour Williams. She assured the students, teachers, other staff, and parents of the support systems that were available to the school.
I know that the team from the ministry will continue to do their assessment and provide whatever psychosocial support is needed. They will let us know where are the gaps, if any, in the safety and the security here at this school.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Education is reassuring the public that effective measures are being implemented to address school violence. She addressed the matter during her sectoral debate presentation in Parliament this week. Minister Williams points to the safety and security policy that has been put in place to bolster security within educational institutions. The policy encompasses several initiatives, such as school bag searches, training programs for staff to recognize warning signs, and counseling services for at-risk individuals. Additionally, school resource officers provide support in the areas of motivational talks, gang prevention intervention, summer camps, and mentorship programs.
Currently, Madam Speaker, school resource officers or police officers are assigned to a group of schools And though no longer physically operating from our educational institutions, they continue to provide valuable support to schools. And this includes, but is not limited to, the following. They coordinate searches upon request. They visit schools regularly. We have motorized patrols in the general school environments before and after school hours. There's regular patrols in the transport and town centers to prevent students loitering during school hours. They do safety audits and reports upon request.
Mrs. Williams says that while these initiatives are essential, she's calling on the public to get involved in supporting the holistic development and safety of students across the nation. School boards across Jamaica are set to undergo modernization following the development of a revamped set of procedures. The Portfolio Minister told Parliament on Wednesday that the updated procedures were consistent with the recommendations of the Jamaica Education Transformation Commission, JETC, which is chaired by Professor Orlando Pattison. The amended benchmarks call for a review of school boards' performance at the end of each board cycle, as well as the implementation of a monitoring and assessment mechanism.
This, in the main, seeks to transform the governance of schools and tertiary public educational institutions in our country, as we know that there's a proven positive relationship between effective governance and student performance.
Minister Williams points out that school board members are among the largest groups of volunteers in Jamaica, with about 10,000 of them donating countless hours and, in many cases, their own resources to support the schools.
They have the responsibility for ensuring fidelity to the Education Act and regulation. It is against this background that the service they provide is valued and acknowledged.
Quarry operators now have a new tool at their disposal to assist with cost estimation, product pricing, and profit margin calculations. The Quarry Cost of Production (COP) app was developed by the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. Mining Minister Floyd Green says it has a user-friendly layout and comprehensive capabilities targeted at the industry's specific requirements.
How can we raise the standards of the sector? How can we ensure that the operation is a profitable operation? How can we ensure that you're taking the right things into account in your pricing models so that you are not just going from, day to day, but you are truly comfortable and you are truly contributed to the economy of the country in a real way.
He was speaking at the Minerals Sector Investment Forum held at the Jamaica Conference Center in downtown Kingston. Director of Mineral Economics and Development, Dennis Miller, says the app will provide operators with an organized system in which they can enter real data and instantly obtain the cost of production.
So they don't have to wait till the accountants do the books to see if they might make a profit or not. So you can see from the outset, when you put in all your costs and your production, you can say what is your cost of production.
The Quarry Cost of Production COP app is accessible on Google Play and the Apple App Store. And finally, Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. says the government is committed to fostering an inclusive workforce to benefit at-risk youth. He was addressing the USAID Positive Pathways Private Sector Forum recently. The minister asserts that it is important to discuss and deliberate on ways to offer employment, hope, dignity, and a sense of belonging to at-risk youth.
We are focused now on ensuring that these at-risk youth are seen as untapped potential, a reservoir of talent that is waiting for us to discover. And so by providing them opportunities for gainful employment, for mentorship, for support, it is expected that we're going to transform their lives and also transform the communities that they come from.
Minister Charles Jr. says the private sector has the responsibility and ability to shape the future of opportunities for young people in terms of how they are treated.
There is a sense of commitment to really addressing the challenges and looking on these youths as more than just a target group, but an actual essential group of Jamaicans who have potential and who, if given a real chance, we can harness what we call unbridled energy.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Apply to the Heart NSTA Trust. Learn a new skill and expand your horizons. Your government has made it completely free to you.
To ensure that students remain focused and prepared for learning, parents, you have to be involved in the process. You can and should participate by assisting your children in the learning process, particularly with math concepts. Our upcoming section will include several examples.
What is it, my daughter? All right. Let me take a look at it now.
Math can seem daunting, but there are a few things you can do to support your child at home. One area to look at is games. We all play games on a regular basis, especially children. And how much fun would it be to tie mathematics into the games they play?
There's a very interesting notion that is put forward, and that notion is the fact that the things that we are interested in are the same things that we seem to do well in. Now, if it is that around our interest there's also a heightened level of performance, or we seem to learn things much faster when we are in tune, it therefore becomes important for us to actually put emphasis on making mathematics an interest. Because once we begin to allow our students or our children to see the fun in math and begin to develop a level of interest, it is at that point in time you will find that they may learn the concepts much faster.
Arithmetic helps us in keeping track of time, conducting business, and making plans.
In reinforcing the math from home, we have to do a few things. One, you could, while cooking or baking, allow your child to come forward and to share the math concepts that they were exposed to in school. I'm sure while you're cooking something, your child can apply some measurement skills, some conversions, some looking at the beakers and so on. Additionally, we know that at times we do some amount of sorting and organizing. There's always a shelf somewhere to be packed, a cabinet to be reorganized, some things to be moved around. This is an opportunity to allow your child to use their spatial awareness, to be able to look at shapes.
Do you want to know what I do?
I find creative ways to incorporate the knowledge to them, because maths is not an easy subject, and most children will tell you maths hard, but it's something that they need in their everyday life. So I find creative ways to put it to them in fun ways that we both can enjoy doing it together.
Some of the concepts that I believe that parents could pay a keen attention to is the number concept, like the simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division.
You have to know at least the basics. I mean, we're not going to tell them about the algebras and the other areas which is a little bit challenging to them, but at least know to make change, know how to know the difference between distance and time and things like those. I'll try to encourage all fathers at least to know the basic about the concept of maths. For the primary student, you use whatever they like. Okay. If they like food, they use food. Divide up the pizza, show them how to divide it. If they like money, they're the children who love playing with money and love counting money, use the money.
Look at your child textbook. You'd see the topics based on the child age group, all the topics that they'll go through throughout the entire year. And you can also consult with the teacher and find out what topic am I looking at now, so that you can use all the online resources.
We we have to find out what is the root of the problem first. Is it that you're not understanding, or you're not grasping as much as you're being taught? Then that much we need to identify what are the weak areas, what are the problems. Once we can identify what is the problem, then we can actually try and fix it from there.
So we're not supposed to be thinking with our fixed mindset that there's only one way, so the teacher is doing it wrong. We could be doing it wrong, we might never know. So we'll have to be open to the fact that we're not the only person with an opinion, or this is not the only way of solving that one problem.
Parents, I want to encourage you today. When it is that your child comes home with the math book and you realize that the approach that is being taken to deliver the content is not the same way you are used to it, don't throw it aside and say, no, that's wrong, or that is harder, that's different. You need to embrace the approach.
There is many ways to help.
Right.
You don't have to help physically, but being there to sit down and to encourage the child, talk with them, or even while they're doing it, you look over and say, yes man, okay, try it this way. I mean, that is support.
Support your child and give them the push they need. In math, practice makes perfect.
Change our focus just a bit. Let's pull back the curtains and unveil the story of a woman who grapples with a major life-altering and terminal illness that disrupts her life but is not allowed to derail it. On this World Lupus Day, we'd like to invite you to a deeper understanding of its impact so that we can support those impacted by the condition.
Okay, let's backtrack a little, or maybe a lot. Growing up, I was always a happy, healthy child and teenager. I remember my sisters being sick, but I don't remember being sick myself until closer to my diagnosis, when I started having like fevers and aches and pains and rashes and headaches on and off. Then my sisters and I went to a fish fry and we all got food poisoning. Now it was so funny, I remember us rushing for the toilet and all kind of thing, and it was a mess. My father took us to the doctor and we all got medication. While everybody was getting better, I was getting worse. And you see, all of them symptoms that were coming on and off, they all came up at the same time. That was when my family doctor suggested that it might be lupus, so she sent me to do a whole lot of blood tests to confirm. Now when she suggested lupus, I went online like an internet child, right? I went online and that was the worst mistake ever. The information that flooded me and the pictures that I saw traumatized me. I was convinced that if I had lupus, I was going to die. That would have been it. And so I just put that at the back of my mind. I don't have lupus, forget that. However, before my results came back, I got so ill, I had to be hospitalized. And during the course of my hospitalization, the results came back from my family doctor that I was positive for lupus. So she had sent it to the hospital and they did a test to confirm that result, and that was when they diagnosed me with lupus. a diagnosis of lupus isn't just a diagnosis of lupus, right? Lupus affects different systems of the body. And lupus is a condition in which it doesn't feel like it can be a one-man diagnosis kind of thing. It has to go and pull all of these other conditions with it. So for me, yes, I was diagnosed with lupus, but lupus had started to affect my kidneys. So I was also diagnosed with lupus nephritis. It had started to affect my heart, so I was diagnosed with mitral valve prolapse. It had started to affect my joints, so arthritis. Now, I was having widespread pain, and so fibromyalgia, and a whole lot of other conditions. Lupus changed my entire lifestyle. So my diet had to change. I couldn't even be in the sun for prolonged periods of time without sunscreen and protective clothing, because I developed what's called photosensitivity, which meant that when I was in the sun, I would get sick or I would flare. I couldn't play sports anymore because of the constant pains that I was in. And I had to take so many medications as literally a walking pharmacy. It was a very difficult time for me, a very challenging time for me. But God gave me balance, because in all of the craziness and the trauma of getting a life-threatening illness, I had the most supportive family. My parents are awesome. I cannot imagine life without my sisters. My sisters are everything. And then I also have like wonderful friends, and so my support system was really strong. It was really strong. I'm so grateful for them. I love all of y'all. Mwah.
We want to discuss with our children the importance of acquiring an education and vocational skills, right? In our upcoming feature, we'll provide you with some conversation points about career possibilities for your child to consider. Please take a look.
I've always wanted to be a doctor since I can remember, but starting my own business doesn't seem like such a bad idea either. If only I could know more about how to get started, or even better, other options to choose.
Hi, I'm Nero Christian, principal of Angels Primary School. Career Day is one of the most important days that we get an opportunity to step outside of the classroom, outside of the regular subjects, to show the students what is possible as they look towards the future 10 years from now. Many of these youngsters will be entering the world of work, and Career Day shows them some of the options they have to be productive Jamaican citizens.
I can be anything I want to be.
In addition to the traditional professions, your teachers, your lawyers, your doctors, we now are utilizing the resources in our audiovisual department to show students how they can become bloggers professionally, how they can become programmers through coding, how they can become entrepreneurs where they develop their own ideas and skills as they enter the world of work.
So my job at heart is that I am a carpenter / furniture maker. And we're going to talk about the tilers, the steel fixers, the masoners, the carpenters, the block layers, and the architects in general, and how it is that we promote and encourage nation building within Jamaica.
It is important to go with the time, and it is important that they use their hands, skills, so that they too can become the entrepreneurs of tomorrow.
Some of our best career option, and I would look at the builder, because you know we always need houses to live in. So when you go into building houses, you are doing a great thing for our society. Also, we would look at the doctors, because you know persons get sick every day. We look at the nurses. We also look at the teachers, the firemen, the soldiers. They are excellent career choice because you will be serving your nation.
As a student, I am filled with lots of possibilities, and I am promised to be anything I set my mind to be.
I love Career Day at my school because I can get to see other careers.
And they would walk up to you and say, "Miss, when I grow up, I am going to be a doctor." And it warms your heart because you will say in a few years, "I taught that child at grade 2 or at grade 3.
When you see Angels Primary students in the high school, you can bet 9 out of 10 times they are your future leaders.
Anelia? Anelia? Anelia?
We've reached the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, gis.gov.jm. I'm Audrey Williams. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.